Training's done and dusted, Rick, in a final this weekend. Your thoughts ahead of it all?
Yeah, we've been building really nice this week. I think the boys have trained well today, and I think emotionally we were on point. And I think throughout the group stages and those semi-finals we've been growing, and you're in a good position. I think we've got a good balance to the squad. I think we're now looking forward to what will be a hell of a game. To go away to London Irish in a final is going to be exciting, but we know how hard we're going to have to work to go out there and rip this game away from them.
You set your stall out straight from the outset, and that mix of youth and experience, guys like Jack Inard who've been there, done it, got the t-shirt almost, they've been influential in driving this side to the final, really.
Jack's been an outstanding leader throughout the group stages, and then obviously in that semi-final, and for us to have him in and around that squad has been invaluable. I think even just having some of the younger guys that have really stood up. I think Ewan Jenkins at 10 has really grown, not just on the pitch but off the pitch in terms of how he's led, and he would have learned from Jack. I think there's a sprinkling of some senior guys in and around them as well that will obviously help that. But I think as a group we've really grown, and I think we're in this final because we've had a group that have played together and played for each other. And I think what we have seen is a young group grow, and we're obviously looking forward to getting into the game on Sunday and showing where we are and what we need to do to win this game.
A fifth time in this Cup Final. It's a competition you take very, very seriously. Two form sides as well, London Irish on their own turf. You can be party poopers, can't you, at the weekend?
Yeah, definitely. We've talked about that as well. They've been the form team. We've been in and around them as well in terms of points. Obviously, to lose out on the home the home final by a point shows where both teams were. And full credit to them, they fought and battled through their group games, and we did as well. And what it will be, we won a hell of a game. I know the conditions might change how both teams play a little bit, but what you will see is two teams that are wanting to play and two teams that will play for each other. And what I do think it will be the guys that can tactically manage the game will come out on top.
There's been a lot of chat, doom and gloom in some quarters of the players that are leaving, but equally this crop of young generation coming through are very exciting, and you're working with them day in, day out and seeing firsthand what's on show. It's exciting, isn't it? It
is, like you talked about earlier, the group stages and also going back through the competitions in the past has shown that we've used to develop players, and young players that have played in these competitions have developed and now gone on to be those players that are winning Premiership titles and European titles. And yes, some of them may be moving on, and there'll be a group of young players that will now have to step up. And for me, I think it's really important that this group draws on that the emotion around it. That one, that they could be playing with some of these guys for the last time, but two, as a group that can really drive this club forward. And for me, that's something that we can draw on, and we have drawn on, and I think that will be the thing that we'll look to obviously talk about going into Sunday as well.
You've talked about the rest of the season being winner takes all. This weekend is winner takes all, but equally when you look to the rest of the Premiership, to the Champions Cup, it's a big exciting end to the season coming up.
Every coach, every player wants to be involved in these big games, and it's the first tangible game where obviously there's something to take at the end of it. I think whatever happens on Sunday, one thing I will say is I'm super proud of this group in terms of how they've stayed together and fought for each other. I think that will put us in good stead for the weekend. And when we come out of this competition, we're then going into big games. We need to win every game now to maintain and be around that top four. And then what a hell of a game it will be. The Montpellier at home. So we're fighting on all fronts at the minute. I think form, obviously, want to keep moving and improving and working to be better, on and off the field. But to be in this stage of the season and in all these competitions is massive exciting, and it's full credit to not just the guys that play on Sunday. There's players that you've played in the group stages that might have been injured or can't play in it, or you haven't been selected, but what they have done is we've stayed together as a group, and that will put us in good stead for one Sunday, but also when we get into the Premiership and Bath moving forward. And I think one thing that you've seen over this last block, whether it be in any of the competitions, we've got a group of players that will fight for each other. There will be areas we want to keep working on and improving, but if we have that, we've got a base to keep working on and moving forward, obviously into the end of the season.
Ricky, a big day for the players, but big day for you as coaches as well. You've got to drive this team over a number of years now at this level. Equally the same for Stino, for Gareth, for other people like that. It's a big day for you guys.
Yeah, it is. I think we get the opportunity to come in and put our little stamps onto the training weeks and onto the games. And like any player or any coach will tell you, that to actually be able to influence a group, but also influence the results or the final is obviously what you want as a coach. I think this week's probably been a bit more about us guiding the players. We're in a really good place that we can give them some templates around how we think we want to play the game, but then we can step back. And I think both Gareths have coached very well this week, and we've gone for the philosophy of that. We give them that little game plan, we give them some guidance, but then it's down to the players to step up and do that. And obviously every coach, every player wants to win something, and to be in like the fifth final for this group, and for us to be able to be developing as coaches is exactly what this competition's about. And it's really exciting.
Team news wise, you're looking strong, and you've been boosted with the return of Chris Chunza and Ollie Devoto in the mix as well. Big players. To get Chris to come back in, obviously he'll be disappointed. He wanted to be in around the Six Nations of the World squad, but for us as a group of coaches and players, we can't wait to have him. He's an exceptional player, and he's grown like game to game. To get Ollie Devoto back after a long-term injury is actually a real bonus. And then also there's guys in and around there like Yeston Harris has come back into the squad from long-term injury to being around in that hooker spot, and then there's some players in that you might necessarily have heard of that have really stepped up. Tom Cairns and Ewan Jenkins has been at the forefront of our halfback partnership throughout this group, and they've grown. And then there'll be some sprinkling of players that we can't go through all their names, but you'll know the ones that have obviously stepped up in the group stages and really fought and put us into this final at the weekend.